Okay guys, we're going to continue learning about standard concepts when drawing. So we already learned about the scales, and now we're going to continue with the concept that you already know from last year, is the dimensioning. Okay, dimensioning is adding measurements to the drawing, to the technical drawing. So just a quick review about the type of lines we use in technical drawing. The most relevant ones are, as you can see here, heavy lines are the ones we use to draw the shapes. And then we have more lines, for example, like fine lines are the ones we use for axes, for example, or for dimension lines. This is for not to confuse the dimensions with the real shape. We use as well, for example, fine dash line to show hidden lines that we cannot see. Okay, that they are there, and then you have to imagine that the shape is transparent and you see them like this. Finally, we have fine dash dotted line, that are the ones that we use for center lines when the shape is symmetrical. Okay, but now we're gonna focus on dimension. So dimension is when we indicate the actual measurements that are needed to define the shapes. So it means that we have to show the real dimensions, okay, not the ones in the drawing. So concepts we have to remember. The dimension lines are the ones that we use to show the distance between 2 points we want to measure, okay, but we always had to use the auxiliary dimension lines, those over here, and those are to refer or to mark what is the line that we are measuring. We always had to use auxiliary dimension lines, okay. um, the end of the dimension line can be an arrow. Normally it's an arrow, but sometimes it's just 45 degrees line. Finally, we have the numbers, the dimension figure, and it has to be always placed over the dimension line, always over, not below, over. And it's very important to say that they have to be expressed in millimeters, always in millimeters. So it means that we don't have to add here next to the number the word millimeter, because we understand that and unless we indicate something different, we are always giving the information in millimeters. Okay. Sometimes we had to use symbols. For example, you have here the symbol of radius or diameter when you want to give information about the size of a hole, of a round shape. Okay. Um, here you have several examples that you can consult later in the notes. There is a PDF file with all these images. So in every case you have the wrong way to dimension a shape and the right one. So you have to find out which are the mistakes. So I'm gonna give you, for example, the first one. This one is wrong, and there are three reasons for this to be wrong. The first one is that this is too close to the shape, so we have no space for the number. It's confusing. You are confusing the dimension line with the shape itself. This one is wrong because we are using the shape itself as a reference here and here, so we are not using auxiliary line. And finally, in this one, we have two mistakes. The first one is that we're using again the shape as a reference, and the dimension is inside the shape. So on the right side you have the right way to do it. Okay. You have different examples here. Just take a look, and so you can check later with your own work when you solve the exercise. But let's see what is the procedure to dimension a shape. For example, imagine that you have this shape here and you want to add the measurement, because keep in mind that this is always to show information when you want to build or make, for example, this shape at the workshop. So imagine that you have to cut this piece out of wood. For example, if you give the distance between this point and this one, pay attention to the fact that first we are using auxiliary lines, these two. We are using dimension line. The number is over the dimension line, and we always leave a gap between the dimension line and the shape. Okay, maybe 1 centimeter, 8 millimeters is enough. Okay, so now we do it with the lower side, and then as you can see, again the number is over the line, it's not below, it's over. Now if you want to dimension the vertical lines, we start with this one. Okay, and you see there's something that I want you to notice, is that the number has to be placed in the vertical position as well. Okay, you have to turn it 90 degrees. Now we do the same with the other side. Okay, this one is 11, and pay attention to another fact, is that all the number has to be in the same position. Okay, it doesn't make any sense that you place this 28 over the line and this 11 you place it on the other side. Okay, because this way you only have to you can read all the numbers in the same direction. Okay, when you have a circle, you have to use a different way, and you can use the diameter or you can use the radius. In this case we're gonna use the diameter, and this way we have all the dimensions. Why? Because we had to give information about all the lines, but we had to try to give the minimum number of dimensions to make it clear. For example, this line, we don't know how long is it because we have no measurement, but we can calculate, because this one is 28 and this one is 11. Therefore, this one you can know that this is 17 millimeter long. So there is no need for you to draw the dimensioning. It's the same with this one. This one, as you have this and you have this one, it's 40 minus 23. This one is 17 as well. Finally, there is something, some information missing, because we have this hole here, but normally we had to place the center. You had to give information about how far the center is from, for example, from this side of the shape, or here from this point to this side. Okay, so more or less these are the instructions you have to follow to solve the dimensioning problems. As a final comment, make sure that when you draw in the shape you are using a thick pen. For example, this one is 0.4 millimeter pen, and that when you are adding the dimensions, you have to use a thinner fine line pen. This one, for example, is a 0.2. Because in this case you see that they are different, because we are using colors. The shape is white and the dimension is green, but when you draw in this in a paper, everything is black. So for not to confuse the dimensions and the shape, make sure that you are using different thickness in your pen. Okay, so I hope you can work with the worksheet now. Goodbye.